Hello again. Today we'll be talking about AWO, the Russian Special Operations in Ukraine. I'll continue to call it Russian Special Operations because Russians have been using this terminology, and unless until we can see that Russia has put in best effort to try and subdue Ukraine, which it might have, and definitely it is a full-fledged war and which can be called so. I have used resources which are freely available on the internet, as also of the wise people who have been talking about this issue. So some amount of knowledge has come from there, but largely what I talk is what I feel and what is most relevant in these operations. Now, basically, air war is in this conflict is mostly missile based. Russians have used something like 2,154 missiles, which are comprising of various types of missiles. They have used some smart missiles and hypersonic missiles like Kinzhal, which are about 12 of them, Iskander, 630 missiles. Then they have used Caliber, Ship to Shore, Onyx, and various other formats of like KH-32, 22, KH-55, 5, 555, KH-59, KH-101. Now, all of these missiles, 10% have been shot down by the Ukrainian AD, which is showing reasonable amount of effectiveness against the missiles. However, one can also see a large percentage of missiles have landed there. Now, one estimate is that all of these missiles, a large number of missiles have also have failed. Missiles have got various components. Firstly, it's accuracy to land on the target. So most of these missiles would be not too accurate. Some of them will be very accurate, of course, for which extra cost is involved. But large of them would not be accurate enough. Secondly, some of them will not explode. There will be some kind of a problem somewhere. Some will detach from booster, or some issue will be coming in. So how much load Russia has been able to actually offload on the targets is something which has to be seen, which is to a great surprise that large number of these missiles have failed in the ultimate objective of trying to destroy a target. And one of the examples which is on the internet is the example of a bridge which is next to the Snake Island, and which is extensively used. And Russians have tried to destroy it a number of times, and they have not been able to do it. As also, in the same writing, it is been brought out that post damage assessment of Russians is not fast, not accurate. So what is happening is the same target is being engaged after an interlude of time. So Ukrainians have been able to repair it and use it in the interim period. So that is quite surprising that in today's modern warfare, you should be able to actually have a good EDA, because that is ultimate. As also the recovery of pilots is very critical. There also Russians have failed in a number of sources. In fact, their Raptors have been shot down a number of times when they have gone to recover the pilots. The pilots are very critical items in the whole thing. You can produce missiles, you can do things. What To train a pilot and to bring him up to the standard is a very difficult task. It takes a number of years to try and get into a fighter plane and fight. So large number of pilots have been lost by Russians, as also Ukrainians. But Ukrainians was already thought of. Okay, of course, they will be losing because Russians are supposed to be having air superiority. The overall context is Russia have not been able to have the kind of air superiority which they were expected to. So, what is happening? They flew 20,000 sorties, and out of which only 3,000 have entered the Ukrainian airspace, which is showing limited airspace control and effective air defense of Ukraine, which shows involvement of Western nations in Ukrainian defense preparation from 2014 till now has been reasonably effective. And there is a great amount of fear of the handheld, man oriented air defense missiles, which are very effective. So, because like about 52 aircrafts have been brought down by Ukraine, which is a very large number for Russians. They should have been able to actually take control of the skies, which they have not been able to. Similarly, drones have played a very effective part in this war. You've seen time and again, the Turkish drones. destroying targets very effectively. And tanks today are having a problem of trying to use the same tactics which they were using earlier of trying to hide. Now, because what is happening is the missiles are coming from top and so difficult to hide. So they have been, hidden. They have had all kinds of positions like hull down, turret down, and all this thing, which is not really helping. So tactics have to changed, and in this war, you see the tactics have changed. Now it is arty barrage and thereafter tanks. Earlier, the tanks could go freely and get into the battlefield without too much of RT support. Of course, RT support was required, but not the kind of RT support which earlier the infantry used to use is now being used by tanks in the later stage of this war. Similarly, the electronic warfare effectiveness of this war hasn't been proved too much. The electronic warfare should have played a major part. These drones and all should have had a very effective electronic warfare system against them, trying to bring them down by, trying to break the radio links, so which we've been talking of to a great deal, but has not been found too effective. Ukrainian side have lost about a number of aircrafts, and most are older technology, and which can exhibit some credit to them. So till now, overall air war, I would say, has been largely in favor of Ukrainians, and not in terms of their inability to defend themselves, but to not allow Russians to capture the airspace. We should have allowed the Russian tanks to roll in and control large spaces. So let's leave it at that, and we will see how the air war progresses. We have already spoken of naval warfare, which I will be covering. We will also talk about the land. As you are aware, a certain amount of change of tactics has taken place. Now Russians are trying to control, in a very limited envelopment movement. They are not using the older effective way of trying to sweep through using the pivot of maneuver and all. So basically, they are using the RT barrage. Heavy RT is playing a very effective part. We will be talking all these issues in next episodes. Thank you very much.